Hey everyone, welcome back to the channel, and in today's video we are talking about Normal. This is the new Bob Odenkirk action flick that comes out this weekend. Saw this one at the AMC Screen Unseen on Monday, and thought I would make a nice little video talking about it. So, before we jump into that, if you're new around here and you don't know, I am trying to watch every single 2026 release that I can, with the inevitable goal of ranking all of them. If you missed out on it, I just did a recap of all of the Quarter 1 movies that I've seen. About a week ago now, I did that video, and it performed really well, and thank you all. I appreciate all of your support on that. It's very, very kind. It's very awesome. I love that. And with that being said, I don't have any other real announcements for the channel. I got to check out some pretty cool early screenings, and I'm working on some other videos, a longer video as well in the background, so I have a lot coming. But other than that, let's just jump right into this review, and this was a movie that I was very happy about. So, Normal is Bob Odenkirk's new action flick. If you don't know about me, Nobody, the 2021 film, I believe, the action flick with Bob Odenkirk, is probably my favorite, just simple action film that there is. I enjoy his performance. I think it's a good combination of like silliness but also seriousness, and the action choreography is really good in that movie. And just in general, I really, really appreciate that film just artistically from an action film standpoint. And going into this film, I was very skeptical because Nobody 2 last year was such a big disappointment for me, where I really did not enjoy it nearly as much as the original. And so going into Normal, I was hoping for maybe a bit of a change in pitch just because it was a different setting, but I was also hoping for maybe a little bit more similarity to Nobody 1. And I think with Normal, you get a very, very good middle ground where it's not quite as action. It doesn't have quite the same bite as Nobody 1 does, where the fight's choreography doesn't have that same bite to it, but it is not nearly as like comical and silly as the second film, and so you get a lot more character and style and flair in this one. So let's jump into it. I want to talk about negatives first because I don't have very, very many of them. But starting off with the first negative is just general plot coherence. This movie does move a little slowly in the beginning. It takes a lot of time to really build up to what you're getting to. And there is a good story in the foundation, but I feel like it comes across a little bit generic because it's not anything you haven't seen before in other action films. So you get the story of this small town that's secretly under the control of the Yakuza. It tells you that within like the first 5 minutes and even in the trailer. And Bob Odenkirk is a like replacement sheriff for their sheriff that died the few weeks prior. And in his new job, he finds out that the whole town is under the Yakuza's thumb, and he goes up against them. And it's a really interesting, like, it's very simple, and it's been done 100 times before, but it's still very interesting and done decently well. But like I said, it's just general plot coherence. There's a lot happening sometimes, and it doesn't always translate the greatest to the screen, I would say. It's not really a huge negative. It's very not obvious when this does happen, but there are a few instances of this happening in the film. And my other negative is, like I said, this doesn't quite have any of that action bite that the original Nobody does. So in Nobody 1, a lot of the action sequences are very bloody and very quick moving and have a lot of like grit and bite to them, and you can actually feel all of the punch impact and stuff like that. And this movie doesn't quite have any of that. The action choreography is on par with some of the stuff in that film, and it's definitely better than Nobody 2, but it doesn't quite have as much impact to it, I guess is the best way to put it, and that is a little bit on the more disappointing side. I don't have anything to say in the mixed category because this movie is very cut and dry. It's either you love it or you hate it, I feel like, and so there's not much to say mixed about it. I would say if you enjoyed Nobody 1, you will have a decent time with this, and if you enjoyed Nobody 2, you will definitely like this because it is a huge upgrade from that last year. So my mixed is just that it kind of falls in between the two of them instead of being better than both of them, or maybe even worse and just kind of memorable because it was, fun or whatever. I feel like that is the only thing I can really say is mixed about this movie. And going into the positives, where I'm actually excited to talk about it, is number one, for being a screen unseen, I was very happy with this movie. I had an expectation that this was going to be the screen unseen. It was between this and Waste Man, the new prison UK prison movie that came out, or is going to come out rather. And I was thinking, oh, it's probably gonna be that one because they had early screenings and stuff like that, and it wasn't. It was this, and I was very pleased that it was this because this was a lot of fun. Its main draw is definitely that Bob Odenkirk is doing kind of the similar thing he's been doing with the rest of his career recently with the action stuff, except now you're in a much more interesting setting with a slightly more intricate plot than the ones that nobody offered. So now you've got this kind of town with, controlled by the Yakuza, like I said, but instead of it being, Bob Odenkirk just kind of warming back up to his family after he's kind of in like a deeper depression with his life after not getting to be a mercenary, you're getting this very much deeper story of like a troubled town with a lot of troubled people in it and how he helps those people out and how he also finds himself during it. And I think in general the character arc of Bob Odenkirk's character here in this film is a little bit stronger than that in Nobody 1 and 2. But like I said earlier, you lose a little bit of that action bite, so there's drawbacks to it. Other things that are good in this one is the setting. I really enjoy the snowy atmosphere. I think it adds a lot to this movie, especially with a lot of the sequences where there's a lot of bright fire and stuff like that. You get a lot of really good just combinations of colors, and the snow and the fire very much contrasts well, and it looks really good on screen. And I like all of the side characters. That's something that there's no real side characters in Nobody, and in Nobody 2, the only side characters are ones that are kind of in the end of Nobody, so you don't really get any side characters that are all that memorable in the original Nobody films, and here in Normal, you get a lot of side characters that are very interesting, even if they're not super memorable, so you do have other interesting characters that are being built upon in this film that are not just the main character, and that's very strong. And the last thing I want to say is that the Yakuza actually feels like a threat. Something in Nobody that was fantastic is that throughout the entire film, the enemies actually feel threatening. They do damage to Bob Odenkirk, and he fights back, and he's just a better fighter. And here in Normal, that same thing applies. He is fighting back, and they're fighting back, and they hit hard, and they actually kill people. And similarly, he fights back, and he just fights back better, and it's really nice. I wish that there was a little bit more backstory to why he's capable of fighting so good, but other than that, it's pretty great. It's a fun movie. This one I gave a 4-star or a 8 out of 10 to. It's possible maybe I'll move it down to a 7 out of 10, but I really enjoyed this movie, and it's just good to see Bob Odenkirk doing his thing that he enjoys doing. I know he loves doing these action films, and seeing him do it again is always a delight. So that's all I have to say about Normal. I almost called it Nobody. That's the only thing I have to say about Normal. I hope you all enjoyed. Go check this one out on Thursday or Friday when it comes out. I actually saw you can do a live Q&A with Bob Odenkirk at certain select theaters, so if that's something you're interested in checking out, I think that's today, actually, so maybe not the easiest thing to do, but yeah, I hope you all enjoyed, and I will see you all in the next one. Leave a like and subscribe if you enjoyed the video, and I will see you all in the next one. Peace out.